is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. So as you guys can probably tell already, I did this video a little bit differently. I'm guessing before all this, or the plan is before all this, I'm going to do a bunch of time lapse going through all the work that I've already done so far. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Kind of the reason behind that is, like I said in my last video, this video series is done absolutely terrible in terms of views and watch time and whatnot. I've actually lost subscribers because of this video series, but it is what it is. For you guys that were interested in this build series, I told you I would do it, so I'm doing it for you guys. But like with all that being said, I wasn't going to waste too much more time on this. A couple of reasons. I wanted to get it done. It's taken too long and I just wanted to get it done, so I just plugged away and worked and took you guys along in a time lapse. And two, it's not doing very well, so I figured I didn't need to go into too much more detail on everything. But I'm at a point now where I think everything is ready to go back into the truck, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update of how it all looks and how it all turned out. I think it turned out pretty darn good. So I guess I'll start with the switch panel that's going into the truck. You probably saw that I was drilling holes in the dash and wiring up the switches for that. So I'll give you guys a little look at that and a brief explanation of it. So I guess I'll show you the front first. Front of the switch panel right here. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too complicated, and I think it turned out pretty good. The spacing on it is not 100% perfect, but it's within a couple millimeters, so that's good enough for me. I thought about going 1, 2, 3, 4. I ended up going with that because I still have my Bluetooth little attachment that you guys have probably seen in my videos that I'll just put down in this corner, so it's still got room for that. But yeah, here's the switch for them. There's not a whole lot to say about these switches. They're just simple rocker switches up and down. I have them wired up so that when I flip them up, they'll light up and illuminate. When I turn them off, they'll obviously go dim. But here's how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty clean. Yeah, so on to the wiring on the back. So now don't let this intimidate any of you guys if you guys aren't big fans of wiring. It's really not that complicated. So like I said, I was going to be running a main harness with a plug on the back. So that's what this is. So that way whenever I want to take this part of my dash off, I can just simply unplug it, as opposed to undoing each individual switch and then trying to figure out which switch goes where, which wire goes to which switch. Just make my life a little bit easier. As far as wiring these things up go, it's very, very simple. You can see it better on this end one here, but you have a power wire down here, a ground wire on the back, and then this middle wire is actually the signal wire that runs to the relays that are going to be under the hood. So just to make it simple, instead of running 4 power wires, 4 ground wires, and 4 signal wires, like I said, it's 1 ground wire and 1 power wire coming in from the main harness, and then it's just as simple as switching it over or jumping it over to each switch. So it goes there, there, and then to the front one here. Same with the ground wires, and then it's just 1 signal wire per switch. So that way it just helps, like I said, cut the wiring in half when it turns in terms of actually how many wires you're running into the truck, into the switch panel. So it works out pretty clean. I'll show you guys the harness that this is going to plug into that runs from inside the truck out to the actual relay board. So this is the main power wire that's going from the battery to the actual circuit board, or not a circuit board, the fuse panel. And it is, instead of going with a traditional fuse, I ended up going with a breaker style fuse. So that way if it ever gets overpowered, it'll basically trip that breaker and cut off all power to it, so you don't run the risk of frying your fuse panel and starting a fire. Super simple. Got these nice heavy duty terminals going to the batteries. Got them crimped on really nice and tight, as you saw with what I was hammering on. Pretty happy with that crimper, and of course got them all heat shrinked up, and then I actually did a nice wire loom over the top of them. But yeah, so that's the power wire. Nice simple breaker. Ground wire, basically the same thing without the breaker, so there's not much to say about that. I think it turned out pretty nice. And then the actual harness going into the switch panel is right here. So just like the switch here or the plug here, this is the male end of it. So I can run this end into the cab of the truck, and the other end goes to the relay harness. So this is the actual harness that's going to be running between the fuse panel or the relay block and the switches up here. So obviously one end will plug in here, and then this other end will plug in there. And my camera's about to die. 1 second. Alright, we're back. So, like I was saying, this is the main harness going in between the switch panel and the relay. Nice, simple, clean harness. As you can tell, I also loomed this up and heat shrunk the ends of it. Yeah, not too much to say about it, but that'll be running there. And then the actual panel itself, very simple. Again, you guys have already seen this. Got the fuse block, got all the relays that are going to be, all the relays, ignore that. All the relays will be plugging in there. And then these are going to be the actual power wires going out to all the accessories for, or that I'll be adding on in the future. One of them will already be taken, and that's going to be going to the fog lights. So there you go, guys. Nothing too crazy. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a view of what it actually looks like and how it all turned out. I think it turned out pretty darn clean. Obviously, it's not in the truck yet, but right now, I think it's going pretty well. So I'm going to get to work, not ramble on it too much longer, and I'll probably update you guys once it's all buttoned up in the truck, or most of the way buttoned up in the truck. I don't know how much of the wiring of all the extra wires I'm going to be transferring over to it today. But we're going to see how this goes. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Well, alrighty, guys. It is finally done, or mostly done. I'll explain that later. But basically all wrapped up. Everything's in the truck, and it's good to go. So I'm going to finish out this video series with you guys and give you guys a last little once-over of how everything turned out and what it looks like. Maybe some things I learned, some things I don't like about it. Possible future changes. For those of you that have just subscribed during this video series, you might not have actually seen the whole truck, but here she is. 2000 7.3 Powerstroke. Upgrades under the hood, inside, down below, underneath, above, on top. A large variety of different things have been done to this truck, and a lot of stuff is on the way and already here. But yeah, there you go. There's the truck for all you new subscribers that have subscribed in the last week or two. So in the truck, as you saw, I ended up putting the switch panel where the four-wheel drive selector is, or would normally be. My four-wheel drive selector is down there. Pardon the mess, but it's down there. So I had this area freed up and ready to go. So I ended up putting the 4 switches in. I am only using one of them currently, and that is for my fog lights. But like I said, I wanted to have the opportunity down the road to be able to add on a number of different accessories and just have it be easy. So just like any upfitter switches you would have from the factory, these are basically the same setup where all I have to do now is hook up the power and the ground, and the switches are good to go. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. I was a little split on going 2 on top, 2 on bottom, but I ended up thinking this would work better because I have this little Bluetooth connector for my radio. So I'm pretty happy with how it went out. Spacing turned out pretty good. All the wiring on the back side ended up working out very well. Lots of room back there to work with, so that cleared fine. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a look. Simple as that. Flip them all on, and they are good to go. All powered up, hooked up to the relays under the hood, and working flawlessly. You probably won't be able to see it from inside the cab, but basically because this truck is a manual and not, because the truck is an automatic and not a manual, it doesn't have the clutch obviously, and it doesn't have the clutch cylinder that goes up top. And so on these automatic trucks, there is a nice, probably a 2 or 3 inch cutout in the top left corner up underneath the dash, kind of below your brake master cylinder, where your clutch cylinder would normally be and is not on these trucks. So it is a very good place to run all your wiring through if you have an automatic truck and you're bringing wiring into the dash or into the cab. There's not a whole lot more to say about it. Like you guys saw in the video, I ended up building that harness that runs into the cab. So it's got all these switches are hooked up together, and it's got a single plug on the back side of them. So that way, if I ever want to remove this whole dash assembly, it's as simple as pulling it off and unplugging that one plug, as opposed to having 3, 6, 9, 12 different wires to unplug and remember where they go. Just made it nice and simple, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So let's get under the hood and see what she looks like. Also, yes, an oil change is coming in the near future. And for all of you guys wondering how synthetic runs in these trucks, there's a lot of ways to look it up online, but I will be doing a review on my opinions on running full synthetic oil in this truck. That was expensive, but it should be good for the winter. We can go more in depth on that in a different video. Alright, so starting with the batteries, as you can see, there's no longer just a spider web of wires hanging off the battery terminals. We have it down to one nice solid ground wire, one nice solid power wire, and of course the wire for my subwoofer, which I'm still not sure what I want to do with this yet. I'll probably end up changing it a little bit. All of these wires down here are for my halos on my headlights. Those we will be getting rid of on the new headlight build. For those of you that aren't aware, the whole premise of this assembly and doing all this is to clean up the wiring for the new headlight build that's going to be coming in place. Should be pretty awesome, building a projector set of headlights for this truck. That'll be coming up very soon. But like I said, it is all nice and clean here. Much better in my opinion. It may not bother a lot of people having all the wires hanging off the battery terminals, but it bothers me, so I'm glad to have it all cleaned up. Looking back here, you can see what all the work came into. So I'll tell you guys, it's not completely finished where I want it to be. Most of you guys will understand this though when I say that it was a Sunday night, things didn't go exactly as planned, and I needed the truck to drive to work on Monday morning. So we made it work best we could, and it turned out pretty darn great. Really close to how it should end up being. So we have our 4 relays for the switches inside the truck, all the wiring going to the fuse block. You can see just back in here all the different accessory wires, power wires and ground going back into there. And what we have here is, this is the feed wire going to my fog lights, and as you can see there's now 4 of them. So the huge benefit of this type of system is now as we add accessories, all we have to do is plug in power wire here and ground it here, or ground it wherever the accessory is. But a power here, and it's already hooked up to the switches in the cab. It is just one wire to connect. Much simpler. Let me pop off this cover so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Here is the fuse panel that is all hooked up. We got the ground there with a ground bank on this side, and then all the different fused power accessories or slots for accessories down the road. I highly doubt I'm ever going to use all of these, but I have them and it's easy to use. So it's kind of one of those things that if you set it up right, you're going to make your life easier in the future, and you're going to end up doing it right in the future, as opposed to if it's a hassle to end up doing it right, you're not going to do it right in the future anyways. You're just going to take the easy way out. So set yourself up for success and do it right to start with, and put in the time up front, and you'll be thanking yourself down the road. Like I said, it's not completely done with how I want to finish up with. As you can see, there's duct tape here. That's one of the problems I was saying. When I went to put on the relays, there actually ended up, I guess, breaking the epoxy that was holding these harnesses down, and it lifted it right up. Kind of surprised me, but the epoxy just failed, and so temporarily I have this plus some more glue holding it down. I'm not concerned about it moving around really at all. And honestly, this would probably work for the life of the truck or for a long time. But at some point, I'll go back through and actually figure out a better way to hold all these down, make it look clean so it's not being held on by duct tape. Honestly, the duct tape's probably not even holding it down much anymore. There is glue underneath it, and it's not moving anymore, so it would hold fine. But at some point, I'm going to change that. Another thing I'd like to change is probably these connections here. I do have some waterproof wire connectors going in here. Not that I'm too worried about waterproofing per se. I think it would look a little bit nicer where I can have the main power and a ground, and it's just a simple plug in to whatever accessories I want to add on. So that's something I'm contemplating down the road, is switching up these connection points a little bit. But overall, the whole thing is about how it's going to turn out. And I'd say I'm pretty darn happy with it. Right now, the power wire going to the switches. Actually, I'm not going to go through what all these different fuses are. It's a waste of time. But you guys can see it is built, it's set up, and it is a heck of a lot cleaner. So since we're already under the hood, I figure I'll give you guys a little bit of a teaser what's to come. Obviously, I said we're going to be building a brand new set of projector headlights, getting rid of this set and putting in a new Harley-Davidson style headlight. Should be absolutely awesome. I've been really wanting to get a set of projector headlights for this truck, and I decided that I'm going to take the time and try to build it myself, because that's just how I do it. I might fail, but it's a learning experience nonetheless, so we're going to be doing that. It's going to be a big upgrade right in there. I think you guys can get understand what I'm getting at. And with that upgrade, we are going to be doing a whole cold air intake for this truck, so stay tuned. That is ordered and on the way, so we'll be putting that in. Got some stuff to do back there. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up, and a lot of stuff that's going to make some pretty decent changes under the hood. I'm pretty excited for it. So I guess that's that for under the hood. I'm going to close her up and give you guys a little bit of an outro. There you have it. I know this video is probably pretty long, so if you made it this far in the series and this video, I really appreciate it. I know the series hasn't been very popular. I can easily see that in the results on how the view time's going and the actual views of the videos. But there were some people out there that were very appreciative and thanked me for making these videos, and so that's why I did them. I told you guys if there were people that were interested in learning this stuff, I would do a video series on it. So I want to try to stick to my word and help you guys out the best way I can. But this video series is over. Like I said, there's probably going to be a few more changes that I make under the hood, but I won't go into detail on those. I'm just going to kind of get them done. Maybe show you guys down the road when it's all done. But yeah, so like I said, we have a number of projects lined up, whether they're actually in the garage already or on their way. There's a lot of stuff to be getting done on this truck, a lot of stuff that I'm really excited for, things that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss out on these things. Should be some pretty fun content coming up. Now with that being said, I know these last few weeks of videos have been a little bit inconsistent. I apologize for that. Things have been pretty darn busy, and I'm going to say they're about to get busier for me. Working 40 to 50 hours a week and doing another 10 to 15 for the YouTube channel. It gets busy real fast, so doing the best I can. I appreciate you guys sticking around for it all. This weekend is opening day of deer season for me. So I'm going to be busy this weekend and possibly the next weekend and maybe the weekend after that. That being said, I'm going to do my very best to get a video out or made during the week so I can have it released for you guys on the weekends. I don't want to leave you guys hanging for that long. So I'm going to tentatively say the video should be uninterrupted from here. You shouldn't really notice a difference, but if you do, that's why. It is what it is. I'm ready to take a little bit of a mental break and disconnect and get out in nature a little bit and just get away from technology for a little while. I'm sure you guys can understand, but I'm going to do my best to get the videos prepared for you guys so you guys don't miss out. I don't think there's too much more to say. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because we got some really fun stuff coming up. To all my current subscribers and the people that have subscribed in the recent past, thank you very much for sticking around and watching the videos. I really appreciate it. The channel's coming up on 2,000 subscribers here really quickly. I will be doing a 2,000 subscriber giveaway. That'll probably be announced in the next video, so make sure you tune in for that so you don't miss it. As always, if you like the video, leave it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'm still able to get to every single comment that you guys leave. Whether I respond to it or not, I read every single comment that you guys leave, and if it requires a response, I do my best to get you guys a response. When it comes to actually doing a response of a response and maintaining a conversation, it gets a little bit trickier. YouTube isn't set up very well on that end. I get your guys' initial comment, but the ongoing replies after that, it doesn't give me a good notification for. So I do my best to keep up with that, but I apologize if there's some people that I've missed on that. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my very best to get back to you guys. It is an absolutely beautiful day right now. It should be a good rest of the week. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at right now. It's gorgeous. Good old US of A, looking back into the sunset. It's a good day. So with that, I'm going to close out this video. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I really appreciate all you guys taking the time out of your days to watch this stuff. Means a lot to me, so thank you guys. Hopefully you guys have a good week. Going into the weekend, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I'm hoping I do too. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.